Okay, so in the following, we need to get some controller input from the Oculus Touch controllers. So far, we have mostly relied on pre-configured input. This is the old input system, and as we're still using the device-based XR rig and so on, there are also the new input system, which is action-based, which I will explain in some later video. But for now, I will explain kind of the device-based version. Now, here we have already an empty script for the get controller button. It can be, for example, located on the XR rig, but that's not too important. So let's start to edit this. We need a few headers here. So we need the Unity Engine XR and also the Unity Engine XR Interaction Toolkit. And we also would like to trigger some events. So we include this as well. Then we need also a reference to the to a controller. And later we would also like to have a Unity event for trigger entered and one for trigger exited. So essentially we don't need to start, I believe. So in the update method, we need to decide what we're listening for. So let's call this feature, and that is a bit cumbersome. So there's a structure called common usages, which gives you all these different kind of properties of the controller. And let's just take here the trigger. So that could be either the trigger which is a float value, or the trigger button, which is a bool value. Here I think we're happy with the bool version. And now if we want to ask for this variable, so we can say, well, controller input device, and then try get feature value, and then we ask you for this feature and a bool value, which is active. So now if the is active is true, well, let's first make a debug. So trigger is active. Let's go to Unity and see whether that worked. So here we have the XR controller. We'll set here, for example, the left-hand controller, and let's start. So we're in Unity, and if I press the trigger button, I'm not getting anything. That's too bad. Oh no, okay, here we get the trigger is active every time I press the trigger button. Okay, so now I also want to trigger some events with that. So what I also need is because I need to detect a change. Let's make a private bool is was active. So eventually we overwrite this. So was active is active, But before we do this, we can say, well, if it was active and now it is not active, then we actually have trigger exited dot invoke, and if it was not active but now it is active, we can call a trigger entered. Okay, and here's still a typo. And then we just overwrite the old value. So let's see. So we can see here this last value, and I was hoping that we will also see here the Unity events, but they need to be public, so we can subscribe to them. Okay, so let's see, do we have some color change ones? Yeah, maybe let's put this here on the plane. Let's make an inactive color, which is somehow gray, and an active color, which is kind of more greenish. Here, and so for the XR rig, we'll make it to events. Let's put the plane there. And we call here the color change, activate, and color change, deactivate. Oh, let's see whether that works. And if I press the trigger button, it gets activated. If I release it, it's gone. Okay, so that can be, of course, then generalized to many other properties. So instead of just asking for the trigger button, you can use these common usages to ask for any kind of property from your controller.